Welcome. I'm in my KZ Escape E17 hatch camper, and I'm working on a project to add a towel bar to the side of this cabinet. So we have a countertop here, and when we have a towel, we don't have any place to hang it, and this seemed like a great spot for it. Now, I'm not an expert in this, I'm just sharing my experience. So I got this Decko towel bar, and if you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon, and if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. So this is the 18-inch towel bar. So the towel bar itself it's right around 18 inches. And this is really old school here. This is just a piece of square stock and it's screwed to the back of these two plates. And this is something someone might put in a rental or something. But the reason I went with this is it's relatively shallow. So it's a little under 2 inches. It also doesn't have any little parts here that will grab. Like if someone's coming around the corner with a purse or a bag, it's not going to grab the corner. It's very simple. So one thing I did, I don't know if it's necessary, but I cleaned this down with some acetone and I gave it a couple coats of this Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Gloss Clear. It says it protects wood, metal, plastic, and more. There's other products just like this, a clear coat. So I'm hoping that will help it from rusting because it is chrome, but chrome can rust. I'm hoping it maybe makes it last a little bit longer. So this didn't come with a lot of instructions, but most of the pictures I've seen have this mounted with the screws on the bottom, so you don't see them as much, but it seems like it'd be a little stronger with the screws on the top, so I'm going to mount it that way. It really probably doesn't matter. Now, it came with these really short screws here, and I got some longer screws. These are 1-inch screws. They're 8x1-inch screws. These are actually chrome plated screws, and those will fit right in there. They look very nice. Now this here, like every RV, is just a panel and it's just maybe a little bit stronger than cardboard. It's very, very thin. So I cut a board to go inside of the cabinet. So let's take a look in there. So here's the inside of the cabinet. Now if I hold this up here, you can see it doesn't even fit between these two braces. So this board I cut just to fit perfectly in here between the two sides. Now there are screws here, here, and here that attach this to the wall and it attaches the countertop. Now I thought about gluing this in. I'm probably just going to screw it in, but in case I ever need to glue it in, or I might even use like a double stick tape to put this on here, I cut some little notches to provide access for those screws. And I'm not saying if you're doing this you need to do it this exact way, but I wanted to use a large piece to give it lots of support. So that fits in there just about like that. And this is some 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood. It's just some scrap I had laying around. I think 3/4 inch, like a piece of 1x6 would work well for this. Now, when I measured my screws, I made sure that it was not going to poke out the end here when I put this on. So let me show you how this lines up. So if we put the bar on this plate, these screws need to go in this wood, and you can see it just barely goes in here. So if it's even, it's about like that. But that's plenty of meat at the end there that it shouldn't chip out or anything, and that should be plenty strong. So looking here, I'll need to measure on the outside. It will be slightly asymmetrical because I want it centered within this area, and this is a little bit thicker because we have the face frame here. So actually I can just center the towel bar on this panel on the outside, excluding this face frame, and that should get it centered properly. So let me show you how I'm going to line that up. So I'm going to want this centered on here, side to side, starting here to here, ignoring that. So it might be about like that. And actually what I can do is I can pull this over to one side. That's not going all the way to the wall, but it's lined up, and I'll measure that. So that's about 1 1/4. So I need about 5/8 inch gap there. I'll actually measure that and I'll mark it with a pencil. So I have a little pencil mark there. We've got 5/8. And then to do the measurement from the top, I kind of like this right here. It seems like we can get a towel on there easy. And I measured that earlier, and that was about 2.5 inches. I found this board, it's not 2.5, I think it's slightly longer or taller. I'm going to place this up here and I'll put the towel bar up here. Now what I'll do is I'll take this board, I'll put it on the other side, get it really close, and I'll bring it back here and hold this in place while I drill these holes. And then I'll move it to the other side while I drill those holes. Now this isn't perfectly flat either, I should say. So this is sticking up a little bit at the top, so when I put it in, it will twist it in place. Now you don't need one of these, but to drill these holes, I'll be using this bit. I think it's called a VIX bit. It's a 3/32 bit, and I'll press in here, and this centers in the screw hole, and then the bit presses through the middle. So that helps you get a centered hole. So I'll drill that through there, and I'm just going to hold this up. I'm going to drill it, and that will mark my holes, and then I'll put the back plate in and drill all the way through. So maybe I'll see if I can set the camera up to the side. I won't be able to film all the details, but hopefully I told you enough about how this is going to work. Okay, I got the holes drilled. I ended up putting one screw in there to hold it in place while I drilled the other side. Now, one thing I need to consider is if on the back side, when I drilled it kind of broke out, splintered, I'll need to maybe sand that or use a knife to cut that. Let me look real quick. There's pretty minimal splintering here. There's a tiny amount, so I'll just make sure I brush that away before I put the piece of wood in here. So this is going to be a little tricky. I'll probably hold it with my right hand and drill with my left hand from the outside. And once I get at least one part in, I think the rest is going to be a little bit easier. Okay, there it's on. And here we can see on the inside, I got it butted up there real nice and tight. You could, in theory, just use some blocks here. Now, I drove those screws in with my drill, but I didn't drive them in all the way. I used a regular screwdriver because I didn't want to strip these out. But you can see this seems very sturdy here. Now, I could take that panel and use some pocket holes and screw it into the bracing, but I think this is going to work well. So now we can hang a towel off here, and it won't be cluttering up our countertop. So that's adding a towel bar to our Escape E17 hatch camper. That's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.